I decided to go back to South Africa in 2017.
I read that.
Yeah, 31 years of siege.
Why did you go back?
And people are going the other way. They're leaving in droves.
Yeah, there's brain drain that's taking place over there, yeah.
I went back because I looked at my wife in the eyes and said, my parents are still alive. My father's 99 this year, mother 91.
Wow.
Our name is still reasonably well known in South Africa, being industrial family. And I want to go home. I'm homesick. But we'll only go home for 2 to 3 years because Jacob Zuma, the president at the time, is destroying the country. Let's go back, show our kids, see South Africa, and then leave. And what I'm not going to do is get involved in politics or invest in anything in South Africa that has any long-term horizon or involves the government.
That makes a lot of sense. So you say...
So what did I do?
No, but wait a minute. You just said the president of South Africa is destroying the country, and that's why I'm going back for 2 to 3 years, but I'm not going to get involved in politics. That makes a lot of sense, Robert.
Yeah, I really stuck to that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So why is he destroying the country, and how is he destroying it?
So I'll give you a quick potted history. In 1994, apartheid ended, and the country and government was handed over peacefully to the majority, the black majority. And for 12, 14 years, South Africa was actually a success story. It was the miracle democracy, the miracle story. The West said, we've won, we've saved South Africa, there's democracy. And the country grew at 3, 4, 5% a year. There was meritocracy, there were black, white, colored Indian people in all the jobs, and everything was going well. In 2008, the rot began. So there was Mandela, Mbeki, and then President Jacob Zuma, complete gangster, rogue, villain.
He's a gangster,
Well,
Jacob Zuma?
He's the gangster. And he instituted a thing called state capture. All our state-owned enterprises, railways, electricity supply, South African Airways, he put loyalists in place whose only job was to steal. And hundreds of billions of rand were stolen and offshored. And that was when the country began its descent into potential economic collapse.
This is in 08.
This is 08, 09 till 2017.
So state capture is a type of systemic political corruption in which private interests significantly influence a state's decision-making processes to their own advantage. The term was first used in World Bank in 2000, describing certain Central Asian countries making the transition from Soviet communism, where small corrupt groups use their influence over government officials to appropriate government decision-making in order to strengthen their economic positions. Okay, so 2008, 2009, he's doing this.
He begins it.
He begins it.
And they remove all the middle-class, small-town, big-city employees who for decades have been handling maintenance of the local sewage plant. You know, all those jobs that the smaller people in smaller jobs do day to day to keep the economy going. And they put ANC, their government, loyalists in place who had no competence and who ended up stealing and breaking. Every one of our state-owned enterprises either bankrupt or stolen to death as of today. But in 2017, the ANC elected a new president because they had over 50% of the votes, President Cyril Ramaphosa, who everyone believed would save the country. He's been just as bad as Zuma, and he arrives tomorrow to meet President Donald Trump.
He arrives tomorrow to meet President Donald Trump. Yeah, he said he was negotiating with the president.
So tomorrow might, if it's recorded, tomorrow might be in the past.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now how do you feel about him versus Jacob Zuma?
Jacob Zuma was fundamentally evil and malevolent. He's like a populist, clown, dangerous. And he's trying to come back into power, and he'll be way, way, way more dangerous if he does. Cyril Ramaphosa is now head of the ANC, and he was a trade unionist. He was one of the first South African black billionaires. He has the McDonald's franchises in South Africa. He understands the mining industry. He's the kind of guy you would actually like having a meal with, like talking to. But he's like a pillow. He takes the shape of the last person that sat on him. He'll tell you what you want to hear. Then he'll meet trade unionists, tell them what you want to hear, and so on and so on.
Have you met him before?
I've met him. but I refused. He's trying to meet me. I refused to meet him.
Zuma or the existing president?
I've spoken to Zuma and I've met Ramaphosa. They're both equally bad because what they've done over the last 14 years is institute racism, anti-white, anti-colored, anti-Indian racism, socialism, and their government has been kleptocratic and ineptocratic. So on one hand, stealing, on the other hand, completely incompetent. They have deindustrialized our country, and we are growing at 1% economic growth, and our population growth is 2%. What does that mean? We get poorer every year. The country is falling apart because of the ANC.
Yeah, I'm looking at some data here saying South Africa's GDP has stagnated, averaging 0.8% annually from 2012 to 2022. Again, 2008, 2009, Jacob Zuma gets in, compared to 4.8% the previous decade, 94 to 04. Unemployment reached 33.5% in 2024, with youth unemployment at 61%.
Highest in the world. Highest in the world.
How?
By complete incompetence and malevolence, evil. They're pushing anti-white racism and socialism by the day. And let me give you the worst of it. We have a policy called Black Economic Empowerment, BEE. The reason Starlink isn't in South Africa yet is because the South African government said to Elon Musk, if you want to bring Starlink to South Africa, you've got to give 30% of your business to a black person, and we'll tell you who.
Who said this? Jacob Zuma?
Our government says it. It's a government policy.
So whatever business you're running, I'm doing $100 million a year. I built this thing myself. I have to give it to a black person, 30% of it, and they pick and choose who it is.
If you have any dealing with the government, if you have any dealing with the South African government.
So if I have a government contract and I'm doing business with them, 30% of the ownership of the company needs to go to a black person that they choose.
Or that you choose that's acceptable to them.
Or that you choose that is acceptable to them.
But in most cases, these people.
Rob is a black person in South Africa, let's just say. And you say, no, Rob is not good. Then I say Humberto, and Humberto's a black person. You say, yeah, we'll approve that one.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And they don't have to put any money up. You effectively have to fund it. It is.
Is this a law?
It's a law.
It's like if he searches it, he'll find it?
Type in BEE or Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment, BBBEE. Have a look, South Africa. And it's getting worse. They're trying to institute a law. If any private company of 50 or more employees has to have BEE, whether you work with the government or not. So like a real estate agent. This is currently on the table. But I'll give you one worse law than this.
What's that?
You ready for these three words?
I do.
Tell me what this means to you. And it's been signed in January. Expropriation without compensation.
Unpack.
Would you invest in this country that says we can expropriate not just your land, not just your mines, the watch of your arm and your house, without compensation if it's in the public interest?
What's the incentive for me?
Well, you'll never invest in South Africa with a law.
No,
like
why
that.
would I do that?
You wouldn't. Why would I invest any more in South Africa? I won't. Foreign direct investment has dried up. And our government, our moronic ANC government, continues to institute. Donald Trump is angry with South Africa. I mean, it's amazing we've even made his priority list because he calls South Africa DEI as a country.